Good morning, church. It is good to see everybody this morning. I always love the holidays and the time with family, and that includes this time. I've always felt like, ever since I've been here, that this is my extended family, and it's always good to gather together. As we get started this morning, I have a little project I want you to help me with. I need everybody to take out their cell phones. I know this seems weird, okay? Everybody take out their cell phones. If you don't have a cell phone, kids, take your parents. All right? And I need you to put it on the camera function, okay? Put it on the camera function. And then I want you to look back here at me, and I want you to take a picture of me, okay? Here we go. Everybody look back here. I'm going to do a cool pose. Right there, my name's up there, so that's really cool. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. Nice. Okay, thanks. That's it. I needed a picture of myself. Appreciate that. Wow, look at that. We have instant development. I should have worn the same thing this morning, I guess. That would have made it more convincing if I did that. So I got this a few months ago, and quite honestly, what do you do with a 6-foot picture of yourself? It's been living underneath the couch in my office back there, and I thought, when am I ever going to use this? And this morning I thought, well, I've got the perfect opportunity to use this because I'm preaching. And so I could sit him right here, and I could go back and just preach and just read my notes. That would be the easiest way to do it. It would be the shortest way to do it. It would be the quickest way. But I'm not going to do that. This morning, I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about distraction. Now, just for a moment, I distracted you. I pulled you to the back. Everybody got their cameras out. They took pictures. And then we had cardboard version of me. This is kind of creepy. I'm sorry. I gotta put it back in here. Yes, he's going in timeout. That's what, I've joked and told Aaron, I said I need to send that to college with Caleb just so he knows I'm watching him. Just put it in his dorm room like I'm watching you. Every time I preach, I feel like I'm attacked by my topic. And I don't know if I'm calling attention to it or what it is, but anytime I pick a topic like this, I feel like I'm attacked by it. And over the past 2 weeks, I've known for a month and a half that I was going to preach on this Sunday, or maybe a little longer than that, but especially the last week or so, I have had so much trouble not being distracted. Constant distractions that are going on, and I told myself anytime I preach, it kind of hangs over me. I told myself I'm not going to let this hang over me. I'm going to prepare 2 or 3 days in advance and not let it take over my Christmas. I didn't want to get distracted from Christmas. And so constantly just fighting distraction. Probably one of the most popular sections of Scripture dealing with distraction is this story of Mary and Martha when Jesus comes to visit. And Mary, what is Mary busy doing? She's busy being present with Jesus. And what's Martha busy doing? Taking care of the house. How many of you kind of relate more to Martha in that story? I'm raising my hand. Because that's me. I'm trying to get things ready. I'm always focused on the details, trying to get everything cleaned up and presentable for what's going on. But here, it says in verse 41, it says, Jesus says this to Martha. He says, "Martha, Martha, you are so anxious and troubled about many things, but one thing is necessary. Mary has chosen the good portion, which will not be taken away from her." And all the Marthas in the house said, not amen. I mean, it's like, seriously? I mean, I was the one doing all those things. And yet, we were the ones who were distracted and didn't see that, man, we had the opportunity to sit at the feet of Jesus. But we chose to be distracted. This is in the context of marriage in 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Paul says this. He says, I want you to do whatever will help you serve the Lord the best with as few distractions as possible. All right, so here's the question. What is the opposite of distraction? What is the opposite of distraction? A couple of quick videos here to help you find the answer to this. This is these guys are speaking a foreign language.
Yes.
I like that one guy, when the car made impact, did you hear him? He said, yes. They're enjoying this. And then there's this little car that looks like it would not make it. This has to be so frustrating for all the other vehicles that have joined the pileup. This little bitty car. Here he goes. And he makes it through. I don't think you can hear it in the video, but one of the guys goes, "Oh!" It's like he didn't get hit. And then you've got this video here. How many of you guys ever experienced this? You're in the car, the wheels are turning, but nothing's really happening. It's just constantly going over and over again, turning. So, how many of you thought that the opposite of distraction was focus? Focusing on something? Yeah. And it may be, but I found another definition on Google, if you can imagine that, and I think it works better for our sermon. The opposite of distraction is traction. It's traction. You're laughing at me because you think I'm wrong, but you'll remember it. Okay? You wouldn't have remembered the word focus. But I want to talk to you all about getting traction in your life. And to do that, we have to deal with some of the distractions that are there. So this is kind of ironic. Anybody catch what I did here? Because I didn't catch it until Jonathan was up here a few minutes ago. It's supposed to be 2020. Yeah. Get traction in 2020. But what did I do? When I was making this PowerPoint, what was going on? I was distracted, obviously. I had gotten all my notes together, and I was watching the Ohio State Clemson game last night, and I was putting my notes down. And then I got a call from my niece, and I talked to her for a long time. But as I was building my PowerPoint, I got distracted. And so, get traction in 2019, which gives you 2 days. You got it. Just work with me here. Again, you'll remember it. Okay, get traction in 2020. And I just want to give you some ways, some things to help you with that. First of all, you have to be able to see the distractions that are around you. See the distractions that are around you. Here are some top distractions from real life, right here. Television, video games. Pornography is a huge distraction for many people. YouTube videos, email, text messages. How can you access all these things? It's your cell phone. Cell phones are one of the most distracting things in our society today. In fact, here are just a few statistics. On average, we pick up our phones 58 times per day. Some of us a lot more than that. 70% of the sessions are less than 2 minutes, 25% are 2 minutes to 10 minutes, and 5% are more than 10 minutes. That adds up to about 3 hours and 15 minutes a day that we're on our cell phones. This was really interesting. I found this. A single pickup can set off a chain reaction. And so while 50% of the screen time sessions start with 3 minutes of the previous one. And so once you start picking it up, it's like you go right back to it. It is so hard sometimes just to be this far from your phone. Anybody feeling me on that? And again, anytime I preach, it seems like the message just gets all over me. Because my kids will tell you, and my wife will tell you, that this is a huge distraction in my life. Have any of you guys gotten your screen time report this morning? Anybody? Okay, all right. Open up your screen time report. This person here, I just found one online. You may realize this, both Android and iPhones have a screen time report that you can look at each week. I'm kind of embarrassed. Let's see. Oh, well, good. It reset. So I'm in the new week. So I've spent already an average of 38 minutes today on my cell phone. It goes in great detail and tells you how much time you've spent in each app and what's going on. You can go back and you can look at past activity. This past week, I spent 4 hours and 24 minutes a day on my cell phone. It's crazy. It's out of control. And all of this distraction has stopped us from getting traction in our lives. There are so many better things I can be doing than being on my cell phone. In fact, just the other day, Caleb and I were talking. I picked up my phone and I just kind of started looking for something to do on it. And Caleb looked at me, he said, were you picking up your phone and looking for something to do on it? He goes, I do that too. It's like, oh, this is so sad. It's like the saddest thing ever. We've turned it and we've made these cell phones a huge part of our life. In a lot of ways, it's like we're handcuffed to it. And we've got to find a way. We have to identify. Now, for all of us, that may not be the case. I understand that. I know that some are much better with cell phones than others. I know that some don't even have smartphones. Just recently, we went and visited Aaron's dad. He has a new apartment, and down in his basement, he had one of the phones on the wall that was a rotary phone. How many of you guys don't know what a rotary phone is? I'm just curious. Right here on the front row, she goes, oh, I know. Yeah, it took a long time. It wasn't really appealing to grab it and just do things on it. I guess you could go zzz and just watch it go back. That's how you pass time back in the days, is the rotary phone. But these things they've taken over our lives in a way, and we have to find people in our lives to help point out these things that are distracting us. The car that the tires were spinning earlier, this is what we need. We need somebody behind us, just pushing us, helping us move along. The next video is here's this. You'll see that car that was spinning earlier. It's not really pushing very hard. He's nervous about falling. But that's what we need. We need somebody that's going to be behind us, that's helping push us and helping us to get the traction that we need. You may have had people like this in your life over the years. I've definitely had people in my life that help me see areas where I'm deficient, where I need help, where I need encouragement, and they've come to me and they've gotten behind my car and they've helped me to get traction. That's why we need church. That's why we need to come here. We need this family to come and to get behind us and help us get traction in our life. Because if not, we will continually be distracted, and our life will just have so much less purpose to it. One of the reasons that I got into youth ministry, I decided to go into youth ministry when I was, about 17 years old. I had just become a Christian. I had come out of an environment where I had nobody pushing my car in the right direction. Nobody really pushed me in the right direction. And I thought to myself, if I really want to follow God, I want to be a minister. Because one of the great parts about being a minister, and one of the frustrating parts about being a minister, is I have a lot of accountability. I have a lot of people pushing me. I have a lot of people helping me go down that path. And that's one of the reasons, not the only one, but that's one of the reasons I thought ministry will be great, because I'll be able to sing and to be on these activities and to serve and to be involved with a church family like this. And so I needed someone to help me get traction. So the second thing here is seek the important. So see the distractions and seek the important. In Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, it says, seek the kingdom of God above all else and live righteously, and He will give you everything you need. We do not wander into righteousness. It doesn't just happen. We have to seek it. We have to go after it. One of the most popular verses around graduation time is the Jeremiah 29, where it says, "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, to give you hope in a future." But right after those verses, it says, "You will seek me and find me when you seek me with all your heart." And so God is calling us to seek after Him. Even just coming to church. I fear that as Christians in our society today, that we decide we're Christians because we go to church. But if you come to church and you passively sit in the pew and then you walk out the door and come back next Sunday, I don't know that you're seeking God. I don't know. Maybe you are. Maybe to an extent. But you could get so much more traction. So you could advance so much further in your relationship with Him if you would just go after it. Proverbs chapter 4, verse 25 and 26 says, "Look straight ahead. Fix your eyes on what lies before you. Mark out a straight path for your feet." One of my favorite disciples is Peter. In Matthew chapter 14, this is the story of Peter going out to walk on the water. It says, "But Jesus spoke to them at once, 'Don't be afraid.'" Jesus had sent the disciples out on the water without Him. There was wind and a little bit of craziness that was going on. Well, Jesus decides to walk on the water out to the boat. And the disciples see Him. They think, well, maybe He's a ghost. What's going on here? And then Jesus says this, "Don't be afraid," He said. "Take courage, I am here." Then Peter called to Him. Now, I love this about Peter because he's ready to go for it. He called to Him, "Lord, if it's really you, tell me to come to you walking on the water." "Yes, come," Jesus said. So Peter went out the side of the boat and he walked on the water toward Jesus. Okay, he was doing it. He was walking on that water. Crazy to think about. But when he saw the strong wind and the waves, he was terrified, and he began to sink. "Save me, Lord," he shouted. Okay, now I'm assuming nobody in here has ever walked on water. I don't know. I'm not going to say raise your hand because then that would start a whole other discussion. But there have been times, I know in my life, and I know probably in your lives, where you have had a more clear picture of who God is. You have seen Him, and He has told you to get out of the boat and to walk on water, figuratively. That He has told you to come out and move in a direction maybe that was uncomfortable. And so many times, speaking for me personally, I sunk. It didn't work. So something didn't go through. Now, there were times when it did. But the question is, why are we sinking? And I think it's because of our foundation. I think we get distracted by all those crazy things that are around us. We start making headway in our relationship with God, and then X happens, or Y happens. We get a new app on our phone. We get distracted by maybe by a relationship with someone that's not a healthy relationship. And so when those things happen and we get that call and we get out of the boat, we easily take our eyes off Jesus and what it is that He's doing it. And basically what we've done is we've chosen distraction over traction. We've decided that the distraction is what's most important. You know what was interesting about Martha in the story of Mary and Martha, and that Martha was distracted from Jesus, but why? She was serving her guests. I think she was anxious. What was she anxious about? She was anxious about feeding everyone. She was anxious about her house looking the right way. Aaron and I love to have company over to the house. Myself and the kids don't really like what leads up to that. Gabe is like, yes. It means we're going to have to get down in the bathrooms. We're going to have to scrub the floors. We're going to have to clean all the change out of the couch and all the crumbs, and we're going to have to, get the vacuum cleaners out and stuff. When we could just live in the filth that is there. Why do we have to? But we have to prepare for our guests. We have to prepare, and our house is not filthy. I'm getting in trouble, aren't I? Our house is always so clean. She is awesome. And we help out occasionally. God is not nearly as interested in our efficiency. Okay, I found this quote, and this quote hits me right between the eyes because I am a task person. I love a task. Give me a task. Give me a list of things to do, and I love to put the little check mark by it and say it's done. There might be like 5 or 6 kindred hearts out there that might go along with me. But I found this quote. It says, God is not nearly as interested in our efficiency as He is in our faith. God is not nearly as interested in our efficiency as He is in our faith. That hurts me. Because for me, what I do defines who I am. And that's a struggle I've had all my life. But what God says is, this is God speaking, what I do defines who you are. It's what I've done for you, not what you're doing. And so we have to evaluate, we have to think about it, and we have to decide that traction is more important than distraction. That we have to find ways to get that traction. And so see the distractions, seek what's important, and sit in God's presence. We are very much an instant gratification society. We want it now. It's pretty crazy. I think with the Amazon distribution center that's, I think over here off 840, and I hear there's another one coming, we can order stuff like in the morning and have it by the afternoon at our house. We have one day, like same day delivery in Smyrna, which is just crazy. I can come home and I can order something here at the office, and by the time I get home, it's sitting on the front porch. We get in. Now they've got, at McDonald's, they have two lanes. A lot of these restaurants have 2 lanes, and get them through faster and faster and faster. And so we have learned to basically microwave everything. Everything's got to be fast because we have important games to play on our phone. I mean, seriously, I'm building the civilization in Clash of Clans right now, and it's important. I haven't baptized anybody on there yet, but I'm building it, okay? I've got lots of people. I got a big clan. There's other people in my clan, Isn't that crazy? That's so crazy. I'm spending all this time building the civilization. And I justify it under, well, there were kids in the youth group that I played Clash of Clans with. So basically it's work. I mean, I get to play Clash of Clans for work. This is awesome, But the truth is I allow myself to be distracted and pulled away from what's important in life. We need to sit and be still without distraction, without a TV on, without our phone with us. Maybe even leave the phone like downstairs and go upstairs. There was like the air was taken out of the room. Did you hear that? Did you hear the gasp? It's like, oh my goodness, I'm going to leave my phone downstairs and go upstairs? What if I get this really important text? What if so-and-so is walking down the street and they sent me a picture? Oh my goodness, I'm going to miss it. It's crazy. Guys, this is insane. What we've decided to do and what we've decided that's important. We have just got to learn to sit and be in God's presence, or we'll just continually be distracted. I want to close with this from Isaiah chapter 30, verses 18 to 22. And I'm going to use some liberty here and insert some things, but blessings for the Lord's people at Antioch. So the Lord must wait for you to come to Him so He can show you His love and compassion. For the Lord is a faithful God. Blessed are those who wait for His help. O people of Zion, O people of Antioch Church of Christ, who live in Jerusalem or Nashville, you will weep no more. He will be gracious to you and ask for help. He will surely respond. The sound of your cries, though the Lord gave you adversity for good and suffering for drink, and He will still be with you to teach you. You will see your teacher with your own eyes. Your own ears will hear him. How will we hear him if we're distracted? Your own ears will hear him. Right behind you, a voice will say, "This is the way you should go." And whether to the right or to the left, then you will destroy all your silver idols. My phone's black. I thought I could hold up my phone, but will destroy all the idols and your precious gold images, and you will throw them out like filthy rags, saying to them, "Good riddance." It's a pretty strong command when you think about it that way. And you think about, we say, well, we don't worship idols. We do. Those things that we put in front of our relationship with God, that we put in front of our relationship with people, the people that are right there in front of us. I had a teenager a few years ago that had gotten in some trouble and had made a poor decision, and I told him, I said, well, you need to talk to your parents about it. I said, I'll go with you. I'll sit with you, and when you go talk to your parents, and that way maybe it'll help temper them just a little bit or whatever. He said, no, I'm going to do it. I'm going to talk to them. And so all of a sudden I start getting these text messages. And he says, well, I talked to my parents. Well, what'd they say? Well, they're still talking. And I was like, look at them. Stop texting me while you're talking to your parents. Just this morning I walked in, I won't say who it was, but it was interesting. Because whenever you speak about something or you start kind of focusing on it, you see it a lot more. This morning I walked in, and there were about 4 or 5 people in the auditorium when I walked in this morning. Every single person, all 4 of them, were sitting in the pew doing this. Had I been sitting there, I would have been doing the same thing. Guys, we have got to look up. We have got to see the people that are around us. More importantly than that, we have got to see God. And we've got to have a relationship with Him. Your life is too valuable, your calling is too great, and your God is too good to waste your life. We can't waste it. And so as you guys think about 2020, not 2019, 3 days plus 365, how is it that you can eliminate some of these distractions? How is it that we can drop the list a little bit and we can be a Mary and we can sit at the feet of Jesus? Make time, because if you don't, it will not happen. It will, unless you set the time and you make the time, it will not happen. And whomever's sitting around you or near you, you guys help hold each other accountable. Help hold me accountable. Seriously, I welcome it because I know I'm going to fail. I know I'm going to get, my kids, Aaron, hold me accountable. Help me to get traction this year. And man, the amazing thing that God could do in this church and in the lives of those who are here could just be, it could be phenomenal if we'll only let Him have a place in our life. At this time, we're going to have a prayer time. And I'm going to ask our shepherds, if you would, to go ahead and be making your way forward. This is a time to pray. Not only with our shepherds, we have shepherds here, we'll have a couple in the back as well, but it's a time for you to pray in a group. One of the things I've loved about Antioch, one of my favorite things is camp service, because at camp service you see a lot of the teenagers move around and they pray with their teachers from camp. We don't have to just keep that at camp service. If there's someone around here that is a mentor to you, move and pray with them. Spend some time with them. Because that's why we're here. We're here as a family to encourage and lift each other up. So let's all stand and sing and spend some time talking to God.
Hide me